You are listening to the Maple Footy Podcast. This is the unofficial football podcast of the North. I'm your host, Sam Little. Find me at official Sam Little on Instagram. There's nothing left to say except for sit back, enjoy, and welcome to the show.
Hello, yes, welcome back to the Maple Footy Podcast, and we are so back. We have never been more back than this, if I'm being honest. That's right, the Canadian men's national team were back in action against the United States in the United States. We have not won on American soil against the Americans since 1957. So this was, even though it was a friendly, it was still a big game feel, in my opinion. And yeah, a lot was made by American pundits during our Copa run, saying that the States would have done better in our position and that we weren't looking great. This was their chance to kind of potentially prove us wrong and put the Canucks back in our place. Too bad the pundits were wrong, and we are just in a good time right now for Canadian football in this country. They can talk all they want. We've now shown up on their soil twice this year, once in the Copa, of course, which the States famously bombed out of, and of course now in a 2-1 victory against them in KC. So let's get into it. Let's get into the breakdown. First, we're going to start off with positives, then of course move on to some negatives, then move on to player by player. And man, it is good to be talking about our boys again, isn't it? So of course, starting off with these positives. Number one, we put our money where our mouth is. As I said earlier, a lot was made about our Copa run by some American news outlets and pundits. Maybe the States could have done better had they been in our position in the Copa America. So this was kind of bragging rights riding on this game, as a lot of our pundits and big accounts, like fan updates accounts, were kind of going back at the Americans for kind of being wrong in their sentiment that maybe the States would have done better. And obviously, we kind of saw last night that we were up for it on both occasions in the Copa and, of course, in this friendly. So, we put our money where our mouth is what I'm saying. We showed up, we beat them, and honestly, I think they're lucky that it wasn't a worse score. If I'm being honest, 2-1 I think kind of flattered the States, but we'll get more into that a little bit later. As my number 2 point was kind of tying into our first one, is the tide is turning in CONCACAF, and we've known this now for about 5 years with ups and downs. Of course, it hasn't all been peachy, but we've pulled it off in World Cup qualifying, the Copa, some friendlies, some big tournaments like the Nations League, Gold Cup. We've kind of been showing up, and we do it again here, and I do think our next step would be winning a Gold Cup or a Nations League, but that's a different story for a different day. I think we're still showing that we can, at the very least, compete with the States and Mexico in these games as to be the best team in CONCACAF. We showed in friendlies earlier this year against France, and then, of course, in the Copa America, that in games we can show up. So I think it does really show that the tide is turning, and we'll kind of see where that brings us on Tuesday, where we do play Mexico in our little cap off for this international break. Moving into our third point, we played like favorites in this game, which hasn't been the case a lot of times under Jesse Marsch, and of course that is because some of the teams that we played, like, France, Argentina, Netherlands, Chile, we played against teams that on paper you would probably say are better than us. So we have to set up in a more defensive mindset so that we aren't exploited, and we have to play smarter. We play on the counterattack, not as much on the front foot. But here in this game, we kind of played like we were the favorites, although, if you listen to American outlets and pundits, then we weren't. But we did play like the favorites. We played like a team that, one, had something to prove, which we obviously did, and two, we took the game to the States. We had that creative attacking flow to us. We had a lot of space out wide that we were exploiting. Our fullbacks got to bomb forward a lot of the time. We still had to defend at times, of course, as you always do. But when we did, for the most part, we shut down the States pretty quickly. And this is the kind of football that we as Canadians know that we're capable of playing. Just we may not have been able to play to this point under Marsh. And we did get to show that. So I thought it was really good to see us kind of in that we were playing as the favorites. We were playing as the big guys on campus. And moving into Jesse Marsh himself, I think he got it right. Something that I think that Marsh deserves a lot of credit for in his short tenure with us is he sets us up for success, which is something that towards the end of Herdman's tenure, I think he was really stopping. He used to set us up for success, but come the end of that tenure, he looked out of answers, didn't know how to set us up, wasn't getting the best out of some of our players. And not saying Jesse Marsh is perfect, obviously, as there is still a ways to go and still stuff to improve on, but I do think that he has shown improvements and he has shown signs of us getting better and being better. And like I said, him setting us up for success in these games is super important. He did it in the Copa, as I kind of touched on. We kind of had to play more defensively, and it worked for us in the Copa America. And then here we get to be on the ball more, get a little more build-up, possession in our corner. But it just felt like even though we still were good defensively in this game, I think, we were still inclined to kind of go forward and be more creative, be more free-flowing. It was really nice to see, and I think a lot of the players got to kind of express themselves a bit more instead of having to kind of work their socks off defensively, which, once again, nothing wrong with that, as whatever gets results is what's working. So big credit to Jesse Marsh, as he's shown that he can set us up both defensively and kind of more attacking mindset. So it's really good to see, I think. And finally, a very short positive, but 2 debuts. Nathan Saliba of CF Montreal, who's probably the best Saliba in world football, and Stephen Afrifra of Sporting KC, both got their first caps for Canada. I think it's big. It's huge for them, obviously, coming into such a historic win against one of our biggest rivals. Hopefully it's the first of many for both of them. And yeah, just a big congratulations to the two men that had the honor of getting to wear the badge for the first time. A couple of negatives, I would say, shutting off for the goal that we conceded. Although it did look offside to me, that was just the last action of the play. The entire buildup, I think, was pretty terrible on our part. No one could really shut the States down, and in the end, it was just really sloppy, which is a shame because I thought we had done enough to kind of get that clean sheet. But if you shut off, you'll get punished, and that is what happens. Like I said, I do think it could have maybe been overturned with VAR. So, who's to say? Obviously, there is no VAR in the friendly, so what happened. It is a 2-1. It goes down as a 2-1 victory. But yeah, just something to kind of look out for is not to be so lackadaisical at times. We kind of saw that in the Copa America. We got punished a few times when we shut off, and the same thing happened here. We got punished when we shut off, and even though the States weren't on it, they have the quality to still put one past us. Another thing was not converting more chances, which has been a problem for a while now. I think that was a problem in Herdman's tenure, and it's looking like that's carrying over into Marsh's tenure. I think 2-1 flatters the States, as I kind of mentioned, as we just couldn't finish our chances. We probably could and should have been up maybe 3, even 4-0 at halftime, but we couldn't find the back of the net, which on a different day could have cost us even worse, kind of like how it did in the Copa. So it's something we need to fix. I don't know how we're going to go about that, but that is why we have Jesse Marsh at the helm, so hopefully he can kind of solve that problem. And my last negative is injuries. Yes, injuries. We came into this window already missing 2 stars with Kone and Buchanan. Nothing we can obviously do about that. But we then, in the week leading up to it, we lose Sam Adekubi and Theo Bair with injuries, which is a shame for both. Adekubi for him, as he was returning back to the national team setup as he missed our Copa run with injury. And then Theo Bair, who I think that this could have been a great chance for him to kind of rack up some minutes potentially for the national team. He obviously won't get that chance now. And he didn't get a ton of chances in the Copa America, really only that last 10 minutes against Uruguay. But just for both guys, it does suck. because they're both playing very well at the moment. So to kind of have to pull out again with injury for Adekubi and for Bear and what could have been a big opportunity for him, it is a shame. And then in this game alone, Alistair Johnston went out with an injury, as did Cornelius. Both could have been precautionary, so we'll have to wait and see. Schwanier also looked like he was limping when he came off, so we'll have to keep an eye on all three. Hopefully the injuries don't get any worse, and hopefully all three of them are okay for the game against Mexico. And more importantly, hopefully it doesn't impact their season going forward, as you would hate to see these guys' seasons kind of get hampered with injuries. But with all that being said, let's move on to our player-by-player breakdown. We already know how this works. We're going to go defense, midfield, attack, and then finish off with our subs. Starting off with Crepeau, who's fresh off of his snub from the Yashin Award. And yes, I'm being 100% serious. I saw some of the names for that Yashin Award. I'm sorry. Max Crepeau should be there after the Copa he had, because if you're telling me Emi Martinez had a great season, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. He's there because of what he did in the Copa. And if we're judging it off of what keepers did in the Copa, why is Max Crepeau not there? Anyways, I digress. I thought it was a pretty quiet afternoon for our number one. He was there when he needed to be called upon, made a couple of nice saves, but definitely wasn't his busiest day between the sticks for Les Rouges. I will say his highlight of the night was sending Balogun to the shops, which was pretty great. So yeah, a pretty solid but uneventful night for Canada's number one. But yeah, just, not always a bad thing that we don't have a lot to say on the goalkeeper now, is it? Moving on to our right back, Alistair Johnston, who, as I said earlier, had to hit the showers early with a suspected hamstring injury. Hopefully, it's nothing serious. He clocked about 25 minutes under his belt. He looked solid both in defense and attack, but obviously didn't have a whole ton of time to shine. But yeah, just not a ton to say for our right back, apart from I really hope he's okay and nothing serious. Looking to the left with our captain, Alphonso Davies, I thought he was great for us, did the bits defensively, was really working well with Bombito, I thought, beside him. They both kind of covered up for each other really well when, say, one wanted to advance, or maybe one was slightly caught out of position, or maybe a little bit slow to the ball, slow to react. I thought that they both really cleaned up well for each other, and it was a partnership that looked really good, and I look forward to seeing that kind of develop over the next potentially years with the men's national team. And I do also think he linked up pretty well with Jacob Schaffelberg. He got forward a lot more frequently than we saw him in the Copa America, and I think it really did help. He had his fingerprints in our attack, which helped add a lot of life to it. I think that's where Alphonso Davies really shines as a left back. He does all the defensive stuff really well, but then on the attack as well, he offers something that I don't think any left back in the world really does. He's so comfortable on the ball. He plays like a winger, it would make sense, as he was a winger back in his day with the Vancouver Whitecaps. So he plays like a winger there when he's on the attack, and that's something that I think really helps us. And obviously he is our best player, so it adds even more to that. So just liking to see that from Alphonso Davies, and him being able to kind of come forward, break through the lines, carry the ball, take a man on. We love to see it. And I mean, if he keeps it up, I'm sure he'll keep on racking up the assists for our national team. They will come. I'm confident of it. And then, of course, looking at our two center backs, who I also thought had a pretty quiet afternoon, but were kind of like Crepeau, good when they were called upon. First, we were going to look at Cornelius. I think he shut down a lot of attacks from the States, and his distribution from the back is always important, especially when we're building from the back and needing someone in possession. I think it's great to have a guy like Cornelius who is very comfortable in doing that, and he kind of got more time on the ball today, as States weren't really pressuring him. So I think it was really great to see. And of course, his partner Bombito, he had some great tackles, especially in the early stages of the game when it was still 0-0. One on Pulisic really stands out. I think he pocketed Balogun with ease. I really don't think Balogun put up anything at all. He kept guys like Pulisic and Colwell quiet. A great performance from our center back, I would say. And he really is everything you kind of want in a modern day center back. He's quick, agile. He's good on the ball, good defensively. And yeah, just really good distribution as well. He's only going to get better as well. We knock on wood. He's still young. He's still developing. So it's going to be very fun to see how he develops over the next few years. Moving into our midfield, firstly with our first goal scorer, Jacob Schaffelberg. It's another great goal from him against the States. He's got 4 goals for our national team, and half of them have come against the States. And like I said, great goal for one of Canada's most talked about players. I do think outside of his goal, he did have little impact on the game. Not that he was bad per se. I just didn't think he had as big of an impact as you would have wanted from him, especially getting that goal. So he did have some nice interchange with Davies and, of course, his goal, but not much of note outside of that. I thought he wasn't really taking his man on and just wasn't really finding the ball as much in dangerous positions as he really would have liked to. So we'll see if he plays against Mexico. I do expect him to start, but we'll kind of see how that changes against Mexico, because we know that when he's on it, he's on it. We saw it in the Copas. We've seen it for Nashville. So I'm not too concerned. I just think that maybe we would have expected potentially just a little bit more from him, but it was a great goal. I, once again, want to reiterate, don't think he was bad, just not one of his best Canadian performances. On the right flank, though, was Ali Ahmed, who I think stepped in and took his opportunity greatly. He had some great attacking positions, got himself into great attacking positions, had some great attacking moments, and was just taking on his man, didn't look out of place at all. You got to believe this won't be the last time we see Ahmed getting some big minutes for the team. He was really a joy to watch. We'll see how he continues to progress under Marsh and with his club side Vancouver Whitecaps. I think, just really exciting to watch another young guy kind of come in, take a chance, and hopefully he can build on this. And just really, really fun to watch. And it was really great to see another guy just kind of take a chance. Looking into the center of our park, firstly with our vice captain, Stefan Eustachio, this was the type of game that really suits him. We're in possession and have a lot of time on the build-up play. I thought it was a great performance for our number 7. He looked really calm and assured on the ball, as he almost always does. He was always an outlet for his teammates. He helped out a good few times defensively as well. And just overall really good for him. He progressed the ball, chipped in defensively. I mean, what more could you really want from him? Finally, the new Grasshoppers man, Mathieu Choinière, once again, thought he was great. It was a sound performance from him. If he keeps these performances up at club level and, of course, with Canada, I think he can expect a lot more minutes coming his way. He was great when we needed him defensively, but on the attack is where I think he really stood out. Always an outlet, much like his partner in the middle, but was great with progressing the play, whether it was him carrying the ball or passing it forward. I thought he was contributing a lot, and I mean a lot, to our attack. He didn't look out of place, much like Ali Ahmed. Two guys that got their chances didn't look out of place, really took their chance by the scruff of the neck, and really, really showed Jesse Marsh that even if, say, they're not going to be starters once some of our more regular stars like Buchanan and Kone come in, we still know that now we have these guys in our back pocket and we can use them. Because, I mean, just look how great they looked. I was really impressed with the two of them. Choinière especially. I really liked how he worked. He was all over the pitch. He really was pressing in and out of possession. He always looked up for it, which I think is what you would want from one of your center midfielders in a game like this. Once again, I do know it was a friendly, but we do know how big a game against the States is. He showed he was up for it, showed he wanted, showed he was ready to fight for the badge. And just really took a chance, and I think it really paid off for us in the end. So great performance from him, and I'm sure it's hopefully one of many to come. And then looking at our two strikers, firstly, Kyle Larin, a man who is getting a lot of attention around the national team. I think he's having a really frustrating moment in his career, both internationally and at club level. It's just something's not clicking for him. I don't know what that is, but something's not clicking. I saw a stat the other day that he only has 2 goals in his last 30-ish games. It was 30, give or take. So, just not a great stretch at the moment if you're Kyle Larin. I think what's even more frustrating is he's doing a lot right on the pitch. He's got some great build-up and hold-up play. He's just missing that final moment. He probably could have left this game with a brace, but he doesn't. He had a great chance, maybe about 6, 7, 8 yards out. Pretty much a tap-in. Keeper does make a good save, but Larin didn't really make him work for it. And I think an informed Kyle Larin most likely puts that away. We've seen him do it before. And he had another chance as well where it was a great play, a great ball by Chouanier, actually, and then a great play by Larin to hold off the States defender as he just bulldozed his way to the net. But then his shot kind of lets him down. It is a good save from the goalkeeper, but it was a savable save for the keeper. And once again, I think an informed Kyle Larin at very least makes the keeper work more for it than he did. So I don't really know what the answer is for Kyle Larin, as he is one of our seasoned veterans in this squad now. He has shown up for us many occasions in the past, just he hasn't done it recently, and I think that that's the frustrating part, is we know what he's capable of. We know how good he can be in front of the net, but whatever it is, something both at club and at country level, it's just not clicking for him at the moment. Maybe a short time on the bench could maybe do him some favors. I know it's kind of maybe weird to say. Maybe if he gets benched, it might be good. But just maybe let him come into a game, see how he can do, and just give him that little break almost of, we still have faith in you, but it's not clicking for you right now. And, once again, I'm not Jesse Marsh, so whatever he does will be interesting, because we do need a guy like Kyle Larin. He's great hold up, great play, great player as well, and a great goal scorer. So we do need him in the team, in the game, but we just need that finishing touch from him that we've been lacking for the last little bit. But moving over to his strike partner, however, it is clicking for him, Jonathan David, the Lille man. He is having a great moment, in some great form to start the season, and of course, this game alone, he ties Kyle Larin's goal scorer record for Canada, assists the first goal as well. He had a great overall performance, I thought, was helping out defensively. He was really great with his high press as well, helped create chances, as we saw, of course, with that first goal. And then with the second goal, it actually comes from his high press. He just pressed the United States defenders, and, when he's in form, he's such a joy to watch for Canada, because you can see how important he really is for us. He not only is he a great goal scorer, but he's just a great all-around player. He can drop back, kind of create chances, can obviously do the defensive bits, and yeah, it's showing. It is showing. He's started out with Lille great, another goal for us today. He's what we need right now, and we need him to kind of keep this form up as well, because goals have been hard to come by for us. It seems I don't know how many games now in a row we've kind of been saying we probably should have left this game with a little bit more, but it is Jonathan David that's kind of digging us out a little bit, getting these goals, getting these big goals. So really happy for him, and just really happy that we have him converting these chances, making these chances, and yeah, just a really, really great performance from him. Goal and assist. I mean, you can't really say much wrong with it, can you? Moving into our subs, as it was a friendly, we had as many subs as we wanted to use, and we did make 7 of them. So firstly, Richie Larea came in for the injured Alistair Johnston, and I thought he looked pretty sound. I thought he offered a lot of assurance to Ali Ahmed as he played behind him on that right flank. He had a quietly good game. I don't have a whole ton to say about him. He got forward, did the defensive bits when he needed to. But yeah, just not a whole lot of talking points. I don't really think he had much to do defensively, but he helped out on the attacking front. In the 67th, we made a triple change. Firstly, Jonathan Osorio came in for Stefan Eustáquio, and I think Oso picked up where Eustáquio kind of left off. He helped out Chouanier in the middle, and he really helped us progress the play. He looked comfortable in possession, which is what you'd expect from the TFC captain and a national team veteran. And yeah, I mean, like, we all know I love Oso, so I thought he played really well for the 23-ish minutes he got. I think he looked good. Yeah, just he's someone that you can rely on, turn to off the bench, or even put him in for the start. So he's just a great utility guy to have, and he's quality for us. So, like, it's Jonathan. Sorry, oh, come on. came in with him was Tani Olosehi in for Kyle Larin, and I think it was a pretty quiet run out for him. And these two kind of share a lot of similarities, Tani and Larin, as I think he does everything right. He just lacks that finishing touch. He didn't have a ton of chances this game. Just there was one time in the game where he was kind of in an attacking position, but you kind of knew that maybe he wasn't going to score. He just doesn't look, which is very strange because at club level he looks so confident and he's in great goal scoring form. But for us, maybe it's because he hasn't gotten that first goal yet, so maybe it's just a matter of wait for one bus to come at once type thing. Maybe once he kind of gets that goal, it'll be kind of, he won't be able to stop. But he is doing a lot right. I do really like him, and he is still young. He is still relatively inexperienced at the international level, as with Marsh, these are the only caps he's gotten, in the Copa and now here. So he is pretty inexperienced. He's pretty new to the national team setup. So I do hope that first goal comes. I do think he deserves it. He's played well when he's been called upon. So yeah, just getting that goal for him and Larin, I think will be massive for both of them and their confidence. Then looking at Liam Miller, he came in for Jacob Schaffelberg. I thought he was probably our best sub. I may sound crazy. I'd be tempted to start Miller next game. I know Schaff scored, but it is a friendly, so maybe give Miller that run out. I think it would be useful. He had a good game. He's had a great start to the season with Hull, and he was really great in possession, looked lively, eager, and up for it. Took on his man every chance he got, and yeah, I'm just a big fan of Liam Miller. I would love to see him get some more minutes. And, maybe that might come against Mexico. I don't know. I do expect Schaffelberg to get the start, but, we'll see. We'll see. And in the 70th minute, Waterman came in for Cornelius, and he didn't really have a whole ton to do. He looked good on the ball, but the States didn't really trouble him a whole ton, so I don't have a whole ton to say about Waterman. It was good to see him get these caps. He's been in and around the team now for the Copa and didn't get to play. So it's good to see him kind of come in here and get about 20 minutes. So it is good to see a well-earned cap for him, and just not much to do for him, which obviously is a good thing, I think, right? Like, I would say so. But then, of course, our two debutants came in, but they only got about that 2 minutes, so it wasn't a whole ton of time to assert themselves. It was more about the moment for them. And, I mean, like I said, historic win for them to come into and get to say they made their debut in. But that is a wrap for us and this little breakdown of our friendly against the States. A big 2-1 win for our boys. Our first in 67 years against the States on their soil. So that's massive, of course, and we'll be looking to build on that as we face Mexico next. It looks like from now until November, I believe, we have about one international break per month, which is excellent news because it means I get to talk about these boys more. I hope you've enjoyed this victory against the States. It's always great to beat one of our neighbors, and I do hope you've enjoyed this recap as well. So thank you for listening. I do appreciate the support. Allez les rouges. That's my French for you. And until next time, cheers, everyone.
And that was your Maple Footy podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Check my socials for any and all future updates at Official Sam Little on Instagram, where I am most active. And until next time, live, laugh, little.